Hi, I'm Dr. Bill Cushing, and today I'd like to talk to you about the North Carolina Medicaid appeal process for denied services. There are a number of Medicaid services that require that a Medicaid provider submit a prior approval request to North Carolina Medicaid on a form designated by North Carolina Medicaid before approval for that service can be granted. The services that require prior approval have criteria that must be satisfied before North Carolina Medicaid will approve them. These services and policies can be found at the North Carolina Medicaid website. North Carolina typically has assigned the duty of reviewing a request to a contractor. The contractor must normally act upon the request within 15 business days of receipt of the request. If the request is emergent, the contractor must act on the request within 2 business days. Occasionally, the contractor will request additional information from the provider. The provider will have 15 business days to respond to the request for more information. If additional requested information is received, North Carolina Medicaid then has 15 business days after receipt of this information to make a decision. If no information is received, the request will be denied for insufficient information. North Carolina Medicaid can approve the service or deny the service at that point. If the service is approved, the provider is notified. If the service is denied, North Carolina Medicaid will notify the patient or the representative by letter with an explanation of the reason for the denial, and give the patient an opportunity to appeal the denial of service. The denial letter will be mailed to the patient's last known address on file. The denial letter will contain a pre-printed appeal request form that the patient can complete. Copies of the completed form must be sent to North Carolina Medicaid and the North Carolina Office of Administrative Hearings. The hearing request must be sent to the Office of Administrative Hearings within 30 days of the date the denial letter was mailed. If you miss meeting this deadline, you lose your right to appeal the denial of service. The hearing must be completed within 55 days of the date the Office of Administrative Hearings received the patient's request for a hearing. After the Office of Administrative Hearings receives the request, the patient is offered the opportunity to participate in mediation to see if the dispute over the denial of service can be resolved at that point. If the offer of mediation is accepted by the patient, it must be completed within 25 days of receipt of the patient's hearing request. Mediation is free to the patient. A mediator must contact the patient within 5 days of receipt of the request for a hearing by the Office of Administrative Hearings. The patient may invite anyone, including a provider, to assist he or she with the mediation. Mediation is usually done over the phone. If the mediation is scheduled and the patient does not participate in the mediation without a good reason for not participating, the Office of Administrative Hearings will dismiss the patient's case. If the dispute cannot be resolved at mediation, the case will then be scheduled for a formal hearing before a judge of the Office of Administrative Hearings in Raleigh. Typically, the patient can attend a hearing by telephone, negating the need to travel to Raleigh. At the hearing, the patients may represent themselves, hire an attorney, or ask any individual they wish to represent them at the hearing. They do not have to have an attorney. Any individual designated by the patient may represent the patient at a Medicaid hearing. If the patient or the designated representative fails to attend the hearing, the Office of Administrative Hearings will dismiss the case unless the patient can show a good cause as to why the patient failed to attend. At the hearing, North Carolina Medicaid will be represented by an Assistant Attorney General. North Carolina Medicaid representative and a medical expert. They will be prepared to defend North Carolina Medicaid's denial of service. The patient must show the court why he or she is entitled to the denied service. The patient should be prepared to present evidence supporting that the denial was incorrect that the service is medically necessary for the patient. The judge will guide the patient and our representative through the hearing process. The judge will assure that the patient and/or representative is treated fairly during the hearing. After the hearing is completed, the judge has 20 days to make a decision and send the decision to the patient and to North Carolina Medicaid. If the patient is unhappy with the judge's decision, the patient has one more option. The patient may appeal the judge's decision to the Superior Court within 30 days of the date of the judge's decision. This will be an expensive step and is rarely done by a North Carolina Medicaid patient. Well, I hope this helps. Have a good day.